Good morning. Our truth bomb for today is prioritize pleasure. And the oil I'm using today is joy. Hi, Nina. Hi, Tanya. Prioritizing pleasure and the oil blend joy today. Joy is awesome. Hi, Mom. Oops, my camera didn't turn around. There. Gosh, that's a bright light behind me. I'm going to sit right here so I can pretend it's a halo shining around my head. Good morning. Thanks for shares. Oh my gosh. Let me turn the notifications off. I totally forgot. Hold on just a second. That is super... Oh my gosh. Okay. Hang on, you guys. One of these days, I'm going to start a broadcast and be 100% prepared. It's never going to happen. Time almost got away from me today. Actually, I was being all productive and getting bills paid and doing that kind of garbage, and almost forgot about what time it was getting to be. So, good morning. Never going to happen. I'm never going to be 100% prepared. I'd like to be, but, that's just not my personality. So, I was going to read from Mastery of Love today, but the beginning of this book is awful depressing. And I just couldn't do it. I didn't want to do a whole lot of translation, and I was like, we'll skip that book, and I'll go through and maybe highlight some sections that I'd like to read to you about. But I don't want to read that whole book. It's just too much. Good morning. Good morning. Hi, Linda. I haven't watched your scope yet. I watched part of Angela's. So, prioritize pleasure is the truth bomb for today. Please do something today that for nothing more than the sake that it makes you feel happy. No matter what that is. A hot bath, or it doesn't have to be expensive. If you've got joy oil, throw that on. Throw on something that smells good, lemon, whatever you have. It doesn't have to be expensive. You don't have to spend any money at all, actually. Hi, Catherine. To do something today that makes you happy. So that's not too hard of an instruction to follow. Do something today, please, that makes you happy, and make it a priority to get it done, let's say, before noon. Periscope is an imperfect app. You see Grit behind me? She's super pissed off because the other cat's outside and she's locked in. Yesterday I let them out for a few hours. There was nobody around in the valley, so I let the 4 go outside and I had Ginger Rose in our catio enclosure. That little monster back there climbed up the outside of the enclosure over the top and dropped in and started a fight with Ginger Rose. Fabulous. I have a woman I know and really like a lot from the from the Blog Pause group. She's taking an animal communication class. And so I was like, please, Emmy, please talk to my 5 cats and tell me what to do. We're coming into summer where we can't keep doing what we're doing. She's taking, her name's Emmy Scamahorn. It's Emmy Pet Sitting on Facebook. And I've offered the fur family up as guinea pigs. The other exciting news is, thank you, Carrie Markle. She's sending me a SCOBY so I can try making kombucha tea, because kombucha tea is kind of pricey. I don't know. I haven't heard from her yet, Catherine. I sure hope so. And I'll let you know how it goes if she does. I hope she does. But her little hamster, she's a hamster person. And I did a drawing you guys probably saw of her little hamster that passed away. I know, right? I'm a little nervous too, Juliana. And so she got another little hamster like a few weeks after her hamster died. And that one just died. And it didn't live very long. She adopted it. So it just died yesterday. So I don't know if Amy's going to be responding to Facebook messages for a while. That's a couple of big losses if you love your little hamsters and you have two die that close together. That's not fun. So, the right fear is today's reading. We're in chapter 72, and in case you're just joining us or new to us, we read this translation first by Ursula Le Guin of the Tao Te Ching. So chapter 72 says, when we don't fear what we should fear, we are in fearful danger. We ought not to live in narrow houses. We ought not to do stupid work. Stupid work. If we don't accept stupidity, we won't act stupidly. So wise souls know, but don't show themselves. Good morning. Look after, but don't prize themselves, letting the one go, keeping the other. So when we don't fear what we should fear, we are in fearful danger. We ought not to live in narrow houses. We ought not to do stupid work. If we don't accept stupidity, we won't act stupidly. So wise souls know, but don't show themselves, look after, but don't prize themselves, letting the one go, keeping the other. There's a lot in this book about the wisdom that comes from, let's see, I don't want to say true wisdom. Because wisdom comes in all forms, and even foolish people can have some wisdom. You can still learn from them. If nothing else, how not to be foolish. But there's a lot in here about not purposefully staying in the background. So there's people that stay in the background hoping you'll notice them. And then there's people that stay in the background because it's more interesting to be in the background. And they wait for people to seek them out for help rather than blasting everyone. Although I am a Facebook over poster, so some people might disagree with me. But I do try. It's not my intention ever to blast anybody with what I think is a way that they should or shouldn't live, because it's not up to me how people live. It's my intention to say, hey, this thing is working for me, and it's changing my life, and I really want you to know about it. And then what you do with it is up to you. But I constantly am like, blah, 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 blah. Use it if you like it. If you don't like it, throw it away and unfollow me so you don't see my posts. It's pretty simple. But if I find something that works, I share that with everybody. I don't ask that they participate in it. That's different. But I do say, hey, this thing is here. Yeah, it is. It's like, hey, this is working. I felt that way. Now I'm functioning this way. And I want you to know that this is here. Plus, Facebook doesn't show everything to everybody like they used to, which is a real I don't like it. I'm never going to get over complaining about it. That they use algorithms to decide who sees what. But there you go. So let's see how Stephen Mitchell translates chapter 72 or verse 72, however you decide to describe it. So when they lose their sense of awe, people turn to religion. When they no longer trust themselves, they begin to depend upon authority. That's dangerous. Therefore, the master steps back so that people won't be confused. He teaches without a teaching so that people will have nothing to learn. Talking about how when you're presenting like a program, good morning, Kathy, and you're requiring people to learn your materials rather than just letting your life be an example and sharing what you have. Sharing your story, sharing your thoughts, sharing your philosophies. When you're sharing all that stuff, you'll find like-minded people to communicate with. If you aren't sharing it, if you're still in hiding, it's going to be difficult to... There's people out there. I know a lot of us have practiced in solitude for a really long time, But there are like-minded people out there, which means you have to take the risk of sharing yourself at some point so that people know where you're at and they can find you. When you no longer trust yourself, you depend upon authority. It's a dangerous thing to ask a million people their opinion when you're trying to make a decision. It's one thing to have a big decision to make and say, so, here's my situation. Do you have any input for me? And to take all that into consideration, but ultimately you have to go find a quiet place and you have to make your own decisions, which means you have to be responsible for your own decisions. Some people don't want to 100% make their own decisions in life because they don't want to 100% be responsible for them. So if you ask 5 people for advice and then you follow someone's advice, if it goes badly, the tendency is going to be to blame somebody else. And, we just love to blame people. But the truth is, ultimately, it's all on you. You have to stick your own neck out and risk your own head getting chopped off and take your own risks. You can get input from others, but it's dangerous to abdicate responsibility for your life to someone else, whether that's a political figure, a parent, a spouse. We give people far too much power over our lives, and ultimately I think it's because we're a little bit scared of taking responsibility for making a bad choice. And there is no bad choices, there's just choices. Unless you kill yourself, there's very little that you can't undo. You can make mistakes and you can fix them. It may take a while, but they can usually be fixed. So as long as you're still breathing, there's hope. As long as you're still walking the planet, there's hopes for making different choices. So with great freedom comes great responsibility. But believe me, you want that responsibility, even if it's scary in the beginning. So let's see what Byron Katie has to say. Hi! Good morning. 72. When they lose their sense of awe, people turn to religion. I like that line too, because when we're in awe, when we are struck by the beauty of all that is, we don't need, there's nothing wrong with religion, that's not what I'm saying, but we don't need it. We don't need the rules and the dogma and a script. We don't need a script for how to live our lives. We're in awe of, we're struck by that. We're connected to that. And we naturally do the right things. So if you're connected to all that is and you're feeling your sense of oneness and your own divinity, you don't go out and kill people. You don't go out and be an asshole in traffic. Because you're connected to that oneness, you can't possibly act that way. So therefore, there's no need for you to have a script and a set of rules to follow. It's just hard for us to stay there. A Christian asked me if I had ever met Jesus. I'm a lover of God. In other words, a lover of reality. I like to meet you there, which is here now. She calls God reality. What is right here, right now? This is God. It's everything. I don't know much about Jesus, except that he loved God. He was a man with a wonderful way that worked for him, someone who truly lived it. I know what that is. I found a wonderful way too, and I live it. And of course that's not true. I, quotations, didn't find the way. It found me when there wasn't even a me to find. Hi, Cynthia. The way is simply what is. It doesn't bend to what anyone thinks it should be. It is its own integrity. It is infinitely intelligent, hi Gail, and kind. To my mind, if Jesus is the way, I meet him in everyone, because the way is nothing more than a mirror image of my own thinking. Christians say they love Jesus. Let me say some Christians say they love Jesus. Hi. But that's easy to believe when things are going your way. Yeah, I do too. She's like, I this. Oh, wait, that's not true. If Jesus walked into this room, everyone would love him. Some would even fall at his feet and worship him until he said something that threatened their religion, which is the concept they're attached to in the moment. Then he'd become an enemy. So remember that the story of Jesus is that he upset the status quo. There were people in charge of religion, and he said, that's not really the way of it. So the same thing would happen today. If he appeared and said, follow me, I know this way, and if it upset your concept of what being a Baptist means, or what being a Muslim means, or what being a Buddhist means, you'd freak out. And you probably wouldn't listen. Maybe. I'm saying you in the global sense. All of us would be like, what? What is this guy talking about? He was a radical. He was a pot stirrer. So we'd all say, hey, cool, Jesus is here. Yeah, until he threatened our story, and then we'd be like, wait a minute, I don't like you. Yes, yes. I don't know who that is. I don't know who pterodactyl is. Pterodactyl? Like the dinosaur bird? I'm just teasing. So, if he threatened your story, then you would say, he's a radical. He's not what I thought he would be. He hangs out with all the wrong people. A spiritual teacher shouldn't be political. He's contradicting the scriptures. I know, right? So ironic. His head's in the clouds. He doesn't understand. Brother. People will write off even the clearest, most loving person in the world if he opposes their belief system. Right? We get so attached to our story. When someone comes along and tells us we don't have to live with those stories anymore, we're like, screw you. I love my stories, and I'm going to hang on to them. And if you keep talking to me about letting go of them, I'm going to punch you in the face. And that's what we generally respond to. Instead of saying, let me consider this. Let me think this over. I hear you saying something I'm completely unfamiliar with. So let me think this over. Unless you're a troll and you're talking shit, and then I'm not going to think that over. People will write off the most clearest, loving person in the world when he opposes their belief system. They will invalidate him, negate him, obliterate him, prove that he's wrong, he's a fraud, a danger to society, all so they can protect what they really believe is important. Those people would rather be right than free. Freedom comes the more you recognize how you don't know a darn thing. The true freedom is recognizing that if someone says something to you and it hurts you, that's just information and work for you to do. Yeah, needing to be right is incredibly limiting, and it's exhausting because you're always having to defend why you're right, and you're always having to look for people who oppose you so you can keep acting out your argument. When you revere a spiritual teacher, it's yourself you're revering because you can't project anything but yourself. When you're drawn to people who have characteristics that you like, they're in you and they're asking to be brought forward. Yes, the first step is awareness. Hi, my name is Michelle, and I've had a need to be right, and I'm letting go of that now. As long as there's something unhealed in you, you have to attach that to the teacher when you don't get your way or when your belief system is threatened. So when you're working with people as a therapist or a coach or whatever, as soon as you deliver information to a person that threatens their belief system, all of a sudden you become a crap teacher. That crappy teacher, that crappy therapist, thanks for the shares and the hearts. that she doesn't know anything. I mean, I've heard that a million times, because that's our gut, or that's our, not our gut, it's our knee-jerk reaction to hearing the truth is to reject it. No, absolutely not. It absolutely could be wrong, but chances are it isn't. So as long as there's something unhealed in you, you attach that to other people. So he says something, you put meaning onto it, you think he's wrong or lacking, and you move out of your state of reverence. What you're reacting to is not what he said. What you're reacting to is what you heard. We often don't hear exactly what was said. We attach a meaning to it, and we hear something different. It can be really helpful to help people who get upset with you to ask them, what did you hear me say? Because you're upset and I don't understand why. So here's what I said. What did you hear? It's a huge red flag. Yes. Yep. It's a fine thing to love Jesus, but until you can love the monster. Do you guys know that band Skillet? They sing a great song. Is it Skillet? I'm getting Skillet and Skrillex confused. Skrillex is dubstep. Skillet is a Christian band. Anyway, they sing a song called Monster that's really good. Okay, it's a fine thing to love Jesus. Loving Jesus is easy, right? Our concept of Jesus. Yes. Yeah, I feel like a monster. Yeah, it's a great song. Until you can love the monster outside of you or inside of you, until you can love the terrorist, here's the hardest one, until you can love the child molester, that's the hardest one. In our society and probably around the world, that's the hardest person to care for. Our instinct is to annihilate those people. Until you can love the monster, the terrorist, the child molester, until you can meet your worst enemy without defense or justification, your reverence for Jesus isn't real, because each of these is just another of his forms. That's how you know when you are truly revering your spiritual teacher, when your reverence grows across the board to yourself and everyone else. So you respect yourself so deeply that you can't help but respect everyone else and care for everyone else. But it has to start here first. I love that, and I say it all the time to you guys, how Mother Teresa treated people with saying in her head, Jesus, what an interesting face you're showing to me today. Hi, Jesus, showing up as a monster. Yeah. Hi there, Jesus, showing up as a animal cruelty person. Those are the hardest for me. I can actually love a child molester before I can love an animal cruelty person, an animal abuser. Children grow up and we can recover from that. And I've seen it happen a million times. Animals don't get that opportunity. They don't ever develop beyond child stage. Yeah, it's extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. And I'm not there yet. Don't hear me saying that. I'm there. I'm not. I have a part of me that's there. And a part of me that's very much not there, if that makes sense. But you can't say that you love God if you are busy tearing down other people. Yes. Generally, they are very wounded people, and that's the only way I can find any piece of compassion for them. If you start with the premise that God is everyone, we do have free will. I know. Then you have to love the people who are hurting too. The people who are doing the most evil things are the people in the most pain. And we can intellectually understand that. The work is in finding that place in our heart that understands that, and then finding that place in our whole lives that understands that. It's not easy. It's not. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of diligence and discipline to continue on a daily basis reaching for this, or not even reaching for it, but revealing your awareness of what's true. Because the truth is as it is, whether you see it or not. The sun is still there. If the clouds are covering it, the sun is still there. Your work is just removing the clouds. Yeah. The truth is always right there. If you think you're devoted to a spiritual teacher, it's a wonderful beginning. You get to see how your devotion could look when it's directed to all of us. Do you hear what she's saying there? Your devotion to a spiritual teacher, or your love of a spiritual teacher, is a starting place. You get to practice loving and revering that person, and then you can spread that out to other people and yourself. Whatever disrespect, invalidation, or fear you project onto an enemy, sooner or later you'll project it onto your spiritual teacher. Everyone is your teacher, and the most powerful spiritual practice is to hang out with the people who criticize you. You don't even have to do that physically, since they live right here in your head. Right? Because we just keep replaying the same darn conversation of when that person criticized us. So it's not even like you have to go find them and have a conversation with them. Just listen to the conversations you're having in your head, and you have an opportunity to get comfortable with that criticism. Everyone is your teacher. Everyone. Because everyone is you. If we're all one, you're in my life for a reason. There's something here to... There's something that's mirroring a rejected part of myself back to me, so that I can find a home for it inside. So that I can take back my rejected parts. Otherwise it wouldn't bother me. That's how you can get one person and 5 people have a different opinion of the same one person. Because it's your projected stories. Yes. Yeah, that's a good word. When you think you've grown beyond all your defensiveness and justification, then go hang out with your enemies physically and see how light-hearted you are when they trash you. That's the real test. Or go spend time with your family. Because when you get to this point where you really don't react to criticism anymore, you're calling your ex. You're like, I just wanted to call you and see what level of pissed off I get talking to you today. And I'm going to use that as my benchmark. When you get to this place, your enemies disappear. You don't have any enemies anymore. Because they don't have any information to give you. Let me see where I'm at in my spiritual growth. I'm going to call my ex-husband. Or wife. And they're going to be like, what? What? It's actually pretty, that's probably a pretty effective way to do it. To become aware without any spiritual teacher, without any scripture, tradition, or authority, is to meet the teacher where you are. For me, the truth was right under my nose. Yeah, literally. Most amazing, it was sweet and simple with nothing complicated about it. If it hadn't been so simple, I would never have found it. Oh my, it is so simple, isn't it? Go find the people that make you angry and hurt your feelings, and they're the people who have the information for you. I've had to disassociate with friends who use me because I'm giving. Yep. Yep. Hi, Angela. This kind of work, again, doesn't mean you don't set boundaries. And like she said, you don't have to actually go find the people who've hurt you in real life. You can just play this out in your head. The body doesn't know the difference. So when you rehearse and resolve a situation in your mind and fully resolve it, it's resolved. You don't have to go act it out with the actual people. Yeah. Yeah, we have to set boundaries. If a person is horrible to us, you don't spend time with a horrible person or a person who's horrible to you, but you work on the parts of yourself that you reject that you consider horrible. Okay? So you have a person who's disrespectful to you. They say mean things to you. They invalidate your opinion. They don't listen. So you don't spend time with that person, but you spend time looking at where do you invalidate you? Where are you disrespectful to yourself? Where do you not listen to you? Thanks for the shares in the hearts, guys. You use that information. It doesn't mean you interact. Yeah. Yes, watch what you say yes to. It doesn't mean you interact with the person who's giving you the information. They're just the messenger. Yeah. And we have blind spots. We can't see ourselves. That's the beauty of group work and spending time with people is you get to see yourself positive and negative. So if you find someone and you're like, oh my God, I just love that person. I love this about them and that about them. That's information for you of the cool stuff that's in you that you might not be seeing. Yeah, we can't see ourselves. We need each other as mirrors. So if you're particularly drawn to a teacher, that lets you know that characteristic in you needs to be owned. So too often when we find a teacher that we like and we put that person up on a pedestal. Yeah. Hi. Good morning. We put a teacher up here and we're like, oh, I'm just here. And that teacher is right here. And that's ridiculous. Because if you like that teacher, that means you're that too. And you haven't owned that part of yourself. Yeah. You have to own the positive parts of yourself that are being presented to you. You have to own the negative parts of yourself that are being presented to you. There isn't really no positive and negative, but we have to use these terms because we have people brains. Make sense? So, I know that happens. That's happened to me as a therapist. It happens when you're a teacher of any kind. The people who you're working with, they, put you on a pedestal. It's human. But the fact is, if you see something in me that you like, it's in you too, and you haven't fully owned it yet if you're separating it out. Okay, so whatever it is about me, we're all super awesome. We just haven't owned it all yet. Right? So if I really admire someone, or I'm really attracted to them, absolutely. They're displaying parts of myself that I need to own and activate. If I see someone I really don't like, I really can't stand, they're displaying parts of me that I need to own and find peace with. So it's all of it. We're all mirrors. The people that you love are showing you rejected parts of yourself. The people that you hate are showing you rejected parts of yourself. If you think that's everybody. That's everybody. Is Sterling saying you are that too because she has trouble receiving the compliment, or because she really recognizes that? That'd be the question I'd want to ask her. Is receiving the compliment uncomfortable so she flips it back around, or she really gets it? Right! We're all Donald Trump. Oh, she receives it. Good. Good, Sterling. I can't wait to get her and Ariana on the phone on the 12th. Little kids all namaste and shit. They get it. They get it. Yeah, Donald Trump is a big, big mirror for us. He's reflecting the parts of ourselves that we don't like. Our racist parts, our good morning, hi. The parts of ourselves that are greedy, the parts of ourselves that manipulate and use other people for our own ends. If you have a really strong visceral reaction to him, right, he displays the parts of you that needs to maybe take care of your hair. Thanks, Angela. So whatever you find about Donald Trump that's completely unacceptable, yeah, then that's information for you. That's information for you to consider. I feel like I need to get my blocking finger ready. I'm ready. Go ahead and keep talking. Any more? Anybody else? You will. Ask for the truth about this. Ask to be shown the truth about yourself, and you will see it. Ask to be shown what you need to know about yourself, and you will get shown. And it can be really uncomfortable, and that's okay. It's part of the process. Donald Trump displays a lot of things that we don't want to own in ourselves. You could do a worksheet on Trump. Yeah. Yes, then do your best to love it. Troll and ye shall be blocked. Talk smack and you will be smited. I actually don't get very often at all. But they're pretty easy to spot now. So I'm like, I feel my fingers start to twitch. I'm like, oh, my finger's twitching. There's one here. So that's what Byron Katie's work is all about. The Judge Your Neighbor worksheet is titled Judge Your Neighbor for a reason. You get to get your judge on in those worksheets. And that information is where you're judging yourself. Okay. Just throw it out there, Angela. We'll help you refine it. Trolls are a funny face for Jesus. Thework.com is where you can find the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. You can even Google Judge Your Neighbor worksheet and you'll find it. It's a PDF. You can type into it, but you can't save what you type into it. I found that out the hard way. So if you want to save what you wrote, you have to screenshot it and then save it as a JPEG. It won't save what you type into it, but you can type into it. I honestly recommend printing it and writing it by hand. You'll get a lot more out of it. But if you're in a pinch and you need to do something, like you're at your desk and you're like, I freaking hate my boss right now, and you want to do a worksheet on the computer real quick, you can. It just won't save it. And honestly, if you're at work, you probably don't want to save it anyway. That's all you need the IT department to find. CaddyshackDesigns.com. My mug is in the dishwasher. It's usually sitting right here. You're welcome. You can put your question up there, Angela, even if it's like total garble. Why am I attracting people who are like creative leeches? Not us, but people who are creative leeches. They want what you have. You're showing them their own, what you're displaying to them, what they intuitively know is in themselves. Right, yeah, not us. So you get people that glom onto you because they so desperately need to recognize that part in themselves. And you may need to recognize if there's that happens to all of us. That happens to everybody. It's people who can't create on their own, have to copy other people. So your reaction to those people is the information. So if you get like super mad that, and I'm not saying you do, but if your reaction is to get really angry that someone has like directly copied you, then that's information for you about what about you doesn't 100% believe in what you're doing. Yeah, it happens. It happens to me. It happens to, okay, let me come back to that. The rejection, anything you're rejecting is a part of yourself you rejected. So with people copying, if that's irritating, then you can ask yourself, so you can say, those people shouldn't copy me. If you were going to do a worksheet on that, you would say, those people shouldn't copy me. They shouldn't steal my stuff. They shouldn't, they shouldn't watch me and then take all my material and then go do it somewhere else. And then you would say, how do I feel when I think the thought that those people shouldn't copy me? And you would answer that question, like, how do you feel when you think that? And if you feel terrible, or you feel ripped off, or you feel angry, whatever, then you turn that and you say, how would I feel if I didn't think the thought those people shouldn't steal my material? How would I feel if I didn't believe the thought that they shouldn't do that? Yes. Yes, indeed. And then you flip it back on yourself. So you can say, they should copy me because that's what they do. And that's the reality of it. You can say, where am I? Where do I feel like an imposter? Where do I feel like maybe I'm just parroting? I'm just rolling off the top of my head. I'm not saying that you do anything in this in particular, but that's how it can come out. Where do I feel like I don't have enough? That's all you can do, Angela. It's all you can do. And recognize that they are not recognizing that they, okay, so let's look at this. They're not recognizing that they have their own power. They're not recognizing that they are an endless fountain of creativity. So are there places that you aren't recognizing your endless power? Are you worried that you're going to run out of ideas? Is there a place in you that's not 100% owning your own connection to the divine? Is there a place in you that doesn't feel fully powerful and empowered? Those are all different directions you can go with that worksheet. Yeah, so they're displaying maybe some insecurity. Maybe you feel insecure in some places, or maybe being on Periscope is making you feel a little insecure, because they're displaying insecurity, right? Yeah. So that's just how those work. So you just ask yourself lots of questions like, what are they showing me? So when you're struggling with feelings about your bipolar child, you do the same thing. They shouldn't be bipolar. They shouldn't act like that. When they should take their meds. Periscope brings it all to the surface. Sometimes faster than you'd like it to. So then you work on what part is rejecting the bipolar, what part is guilt about how they became. The questions are, is it true? So in Angela's case, is it true that they shouldn't steal that stuff? Oh, I hear you. We won't take it personal. Is it true? Is it really true? How do you feel when you think that thought? Or she says, how do you react when you think that thought? Who would you be without that thought? And then you turn it around on yourself and flip it backwards to yourself. So they shouldn't becomes I shouldn't. They should becomes I should. So if we're doing it with people being disrespectful of us, we have to look at where we disrespect ourselves. So we disrespect ourselves all the time. We make promises to ourselves and we don't keep them. We choose to eat food that we know doesn't sit well with us and doesn't make us feel energetic and healthy. So there's like 17 different worksheets in that statement. So you take each judgment about that situation. A filthy house won't kill a kid usually if there's no immediate health hazards. Lots of kids grow up in dirty homes and they're fine. But we have a belief about that, right? That they shouldn't. But we don't know the story. We don't know the whole picture. So you would have to do a worksheet on every single thing in there. So you'd be doing like 25 worksheets, and it's totally worth it. Do one a day, and in 30 days you're going to feel a whole lot different. Yeah. Hi, Ben. You're going to feel different. If you did one worksheet a day on something that you judge or feel judged by in 30 days, you won't even recognize yourself if you genuinely do one a day. Try doing one a day. I know, right? We all do. Try doing one a day for 2 weeks. Of course, anytime. Anytime. Ask any questions you want. So, go Google Judge Your Neighbor worksheet and do one today. It doesn't take very long. It's extremely eye-opening and it's extremely freeing. Yeah, I'm glad you did. Your April challenge for you. Angela, that's something that I've really struggled with. And then for me, I recognize it just was reflecting my own feelings of insecurity. Always asking the questions. Anybody with a handle called Haterade? Yeah. That's a big old block. Any other questions today? And you never know about sharing your story and asking questions. There's always going to be someone else that resonates with that. So it's really helpful to take the risk of asking questions here because somebody else on the scope will have the same issue. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, too. Thank you for being here. This whole group energy and dynamic thing is a culmination of all of us. Let go of your stories if you can. Or try. Give it a try. You've got nothing to lose. Workers unite. You have nothing to lose but your chains. It won't bother you, Angela, when you get to what it's telling you. It won't bother you anymore. People copy me now, and I was like, whatever. But in the beginning, it really bothered me a lot. I was like, hey, I just said that this morning. What the hell? Now it's like, the message is getting out there. But it really was a reflection of my own insecurity. Yeah, they go away. As soon as you get it, they go away. The stories we tell ourselves. The stories the shoulds, the judging that we do. The stories we have, like, people should, I know, that people should or shouldn't do. Bye, Cynthia. Have a good day at work. As much as you can. Stay connected to the divine today, as much as possible. I do. My current events are tinyurl.com/wolf events. I think the next one is in May. So I have one starting tonight for Young Living business people, that it's not too late to join if you're a Young Living essential oil business person and you want to get in. tinyurl.com/wolf events. I think the next level 1 starts first week of May. We love and hate Byron Katie. We love to hate her. She sets us free, and we argue with her all the time in our heads. I want to be free. Okay, we'll do this work. Well, I don't want to do the work. Well, then you don't want to be free. But I want to be free. It's the whole circular tautology of it all. tinyurl.com/wolf events. A quick plug for About Oils. If you've been wanting to buy a premium starter kit and a membership with Young Living, the next 5 people that sign up, I'm giving $20 back to. I'm taking $20 off. Yeah, that's awesome. $20 rebate, I guess, on a premium starter kit for today and tomorrow, till like 10 p.m. tomorrow night, if you've been wanting to dive into an oil journey. Oh, and one other thing, and then I got to go into town, damn it. Michelle Lee told me that you can organize your videos on Catch, which I love. I did not know that. So if you want to watch anything that I've said about A Course in Miracles, or anything I've said about Big Magic, the book, or any oil scope I've done, any essential oil periscope I've done, if you go to the Catch channel, the Catch page, katch.me/MichelleWolf11, just like my handle, and go where it says collections. I made sections. So, A Course in Miracles is all in one section. Thank you. Yes, thank you. You can go there, go to collections. There's a folder now for all the Course in Miracles work we did. Thank you. You're welcome. There's a folder for all the Big Magic work we've done, and there's a folder for all the essential oil educational scopes. Yeah, I didn't know. It's so much easier. Because I would be scrolling and scrolling and scrolling trying to find something, and now they're all in nice little collections. I love it. So I'm so glad you told me about that. So, a Desire Map workshop coming up in May. A special on essential oil premium starter kits for the next 2 days. The easy button. That was easy. And then, I feel like there was one other thing I wanted to tell you that was business related. Oh, in my bio is a tip jar. If you feel like you get value out of this and want to buy me a cup of coffee or whatever, kick me $1, that would be awesome. And it's totally optional. This is a free service. But if you feel motivated to contribute and support the work, I welcome that too. And blessings to you, and blessings to me, and blessings on all of us. And have a wonderful day. I get to go practice what I preach because I have to go to the post office, and I generally do not like it. Yes, my website is caddyshackdesigns.com. There's a tab for Young Living Oils if you want to check that out and get a $20 rebate. And then all the stuff I do is on there. So thanks for coming. I think we had a great discussion today. I appreciate your questions and your comments that you guys give me material to work with. You're so welcome. Thank you. Namaste right back to you. Satnam and blessings on all our heads. Thank you. Love you guys. So much love to you today. And remember to go do something. Go do something that makes you feel good today. Any little thing. Mwah. Bye.